the 2026 national budget that the Minister of Finance, that's Dr. Stombego Musogotwane, MP, will be here at Parliament grounds and unveil the 2026 national budget. What are your expectations? Let's get to the screens before I introduce my next guest and just see who has sent in some text messages, and those of you that are following us on our socials. Let's see some of the messages, and this one coming from Nawila Nankonde. We can do both hybrid on Wapula River and solar. Thank you so much, Nawila, for that text message. Let's see the other text message. We also expect the budget to address the shortage of teachers, especially in the remote areas. Thank you so much. And the other text message comes from Mulea Lucky from Mafinga. In this budget, we expect farmers' fertilizer to reduce and improving road network. Thank you so much, Mulea, from Mafinga district there. We expect the Minister of Finance and the committee to, Minister of Finance and National Development to, if there will be a chance to increase the money for cash for work at any amount, and also to consider underdeveloped constituencies in order that those typical rural constituents may also be developed, job creations, youth empowerments, and appealing to the government to construct the Mutanda Mwinilunga Ikelengi Road of economic value. Simeon J. Ikelengi constituency. Makula Pasco, you are writing, you're saying the Minister of Finance should raise the percentage of in education, because we have a lot of trained teachers who are not in service. Thank you so much, Makula Pasco, for that text. The other one comes from WW in Petauke. Many retirees in the Ministry of Health have not been paid their leave benefits from as far back as 2012, so I expect the minister to consider them. Thank you so much, WW in Eastern Province. From Mumbwa, there are no name, but thank you so much. Good to know that Mumbwa is being represented here. It's on FISIP. Why is it that the parks were reduced? You find that you have 35 members in a cooperatives and club, then 25 are approved, but are given 9 packs of fertilizer. Thank you so much for your concern there. I expect government to recruit more teachers, especially secondary school teachers, to implement the new curriculum and to fill those 120 new secondary school belts. Thank you so much. No name there as well. And the other one comes from pay and cost of living are high. Minister of Finance, I should revise pay. Thank you so much. And we're expecting 50% salary increment for workers across the board and more jobs. Ngandu in Southern Province. Let's read 2 more, then we get to our guest and interact and hear their expectations. Movita Ngenda from Mongu. We need job creation in the Thank you so much. And it's something that CSPR also talked about. Chimfwembe Terry in Chiengi in Lopla Province. My expectations in 2026 national budget is to see Kashikishi Luchinda Road being constructed. Thank you so much, Chimfwembe, for your text message. Like I mentioned earlier on, I do have other set of guests that we'll be interacting with. We know that academicians in Zambia play a crucial role in the economy by providing research-based insights, policy analysis, and capacity building incentives that inform decision-making and drive development. Through their research, they help identify key economic challenges and opportunities, offering evidence-based solutions to policy makers. As the Minister of Finance presents the 2026 budget, we get insights from 2 researchers from the University of Zambia. And my first guest on my far left is Mr. Austin Mwange, founder of Tora Center for Institutional Economics, and is a lecturer from the University of Zambia. Thank you so much for being with us on this platform, Doc.
Thank you so much for hosting us.
How's the University of Zambia?
No, we're okay. I think It's exam time for most
Okay.
students.
Okay, I know the mummers and the monks are busy now, studying, cramming as we call it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
But how's the mood at campus?
No, the university has been very peaceful for many years now. Yeah, so our calendar is running smoothly.
Okay.
Yes.
Also joining us is Dr. Kampamba Chivesa, who is a co-founder, Sterling Institute of Economic and Management Sciences. He's also a lecturer from the University of Zambia. Doc, thank you so much for waking up early and being with us on this platform. How is campus? And maybe for starters, you are the co-founder of Sterling Institute of Economic and Management Sciences. What is this organization all about?
Thank you so much for inviting us as well to participate as citizens. Thank you so much. So, about campus, Doc has already said. So, Institute of Economic and Management Sciences, where, like you said, academicians play a role, and we're researchers. We shouldn't just end from the classroom level. We should engage with other academicians, at times students, so that we go out and see how we can contribute to national development. Remember, research plays a key role. So we are looking at institutional economics. If you look at the recent Nobel Prize economics winners, they looked at how institutional economics can help a country develop. And management sciences, this is also why you combine managerial principles in trying to have entrepreneurial success. We're also focusing much in the informal sector.
Okay.
Yes, because the informal sector has got potential to change the economy and entrepreneurship levels of our country.
Dr. Mwenge, you were here when we had the IMF boss and in Zambia, that is, and brought quite a number of issues. What are your take-homes from the very insightful discussion that we had?
Yeah, the conversation around the IMF, of course, has been with us from the time Zambia became a member of the IMF, and in terms of the IMF providing technical support to developing countries or member states. I think we've been on a number of IMF programs. I think the desire, for the country is that we made successful from any IMF program and hope never be there in the manner we have been all the time. And I think one thing is when you look at the amount that or the debt, the international debt that we have, which we see to be on our necks during Kaunda and the rest of the presidents, including what late President Lungu and President HH have been addressing, the current one. It's not a lot looking at our resources. What has been a challenge will not even be in this situation. The major challenge is for us from the time we realized, all our presidents have realized that for Zambia to move forward, we need economic transformation. So Kaunda to push economic reforms, Chiluba economic liberalization. We have had the term, they keep changing the term, but meaning the same thing. To transform our economy to the level that will not be happy to say we are exporting maize, but we are exporting high value products. So if we are earning more money, the level of borrowing, if you check what we owe, and if we are earning a lot of forex, it's not a lot. So it means much as we need support from the IMF, we also need to work strongly on how we can actualize what we have failed since independence, so that we can. I remember President Sata saying we have been referring to the manner in which we export copper. He was saying we export soil. How can you earn more when you are exporting soil, meaning copper in very raw form? Much as we are going to, the government has been trying, like other governments, to improve output productivity in the mining sector. but what we are increasing is output of raw copper. Imagine if the transformation of the raw copper is done here in Zambia, and we now not only export raw copper, but high-valued products from it. I don't think we'll be talking, we'll be even our Minister of Finance, who has had a big headache in running this country. Any Minister of Finance and their respective presidents, you know, of course in economics we say resources are limited, is got a headache on how am I going to balance resource mobilization and public expenditure and so forth. Why? Because we are not earning a lot. So I think this is where we need to work hard, so that all these comments people are making to say, oh, 150% salary increment, where is it coming from? Have you looked at what the economy is pushing in? So it's really a difficult situation, just like at personal level. Your own budget, your monthly budget, how you try to balance it up so that you reach month end. And now this is a national one.
Okay, let me bring in the doc talking about Dr. Chibesa. We know where we're coming from as a country in terms of the severe 2024 drought. What is a realistic macroeconomic outlook for 2026, particularly for the GDP growth and inflation, and how is the budget expected to align with IMF? We've just been talking to what IMF just did, the $38 billion.
Okay. Yes. So mining still remains key to us, and we could see how it helped us cushion what we went through last year. Okay. So we're looking at the last year's or the current one, 2025 budget looks at reducing inflation rate, which is one of the key macroeconomic indicators, because if it is reduced from between, the target is 6 to 8%, which is attainable. We're just going to the last quarter. So if that can be achieved, then we'll be on a good trajectory. So again, we have how can I put it in simple terms? The IMF alignment. So the 2026 budget is aligning again with the 8th National Development Plan. Remember, this is the last budget under the 8th National Development Plan. Next year is also an election year. So from the look of things and the good harvest that we've had, the indicators are showing to be in a good way, good trajectory.
Okay.
Yes, so agriculture also supporting the good mining trajectory that we've seen.
Okay.
We look forward to a better...
Doc, the 8th National Development Plan, is it at
their target strategic outcome? It has been a challenge. The growth rate has been below what was planned from 2006. I think right now, if I can mention just one small quick thing, which I think in the Vision 2030, what was planned for us to achieve the Vision 2030. So to answer whether we are going to achieve it or not, because what was projected was that we are going to have real economic growth rate at 6% from 2006 to 2010. Then from 2011 to 2015, our economy was supposed to be growing at, that was the forecast, at 8%. Then from 2016 to 2020 at 9%. This is in the vision. Then what we are discussing today, from 2021 to 2030, we are supposed to be growing at our GDP growth rate was real annual GDP growth rate was supposed to be at 10%. So check from 2011 we started going down, and today we are saying we are hoping to be around 6. So we are outside what was projected. So already, I think that's why you see that there's not much hype these days from various stakeholders to talk about attaining the Vision 2030. But there are some areas that government needs to focus on so that economic growth can be sustainable to a level that of course now we have to push. I believe the current government is trying to work on the next vision targets. I don't know where they are moving us, whether we are going to 2050 and so forth. And so that we can sustain the growth that will be required to move a country forward. But most importantly, it's economic transformation. Because if you do not transform the economy, like I've been saying, you'll be looking at some of the debts like we are looking at to be so huge, when in fact the country can actually be within debt sustainability. It can sustain the debt. It will be fair on the debt sustainability framework. If the other side, which is the revenue mobilization, where does revenue come from? It is coming from the sectors that bring in money. And which sectors are now high value money, more forex. So for now, you find that according to our plan, the 8th, including 7th, 6th, 5th, it's all about trying to improve the non-traditional exports, the SMEs, all these to be of high value. So that when you sell, imagine you are selling a bag of maize, 90 kg. And the value that you get in terms of dollars compared to those who are selling maybe chips, electronic chips, or those who are producing phones, very, very little, but more in value. So increasing the value. That's why when we talk about reducing the exchange rate and the Minister of Finance, these are the things that my colleague has indicated on the inflation rate. How do we bring them down? It's you to make more money. And not only local money, but international money, meaning foreign exchange.
Okay.
So that is going to be something that can help increase productivity, increase production itself, and also one other area is to support, like you have seen now, there's been a challenge of load shedding. And this has had multiply effects on many areas that were set in when we were not having enough buses. He actually removed the tax from buses completely, so that buses were going to flow into the country just at the price you bought it. And we had DCMs, you remember, all those ICs coming in, because and the time there was no one was queuing up.
So what's
now,
your
what I'm
proposal
trying
in
to
the
say
energy
is,
sector? Because
when
the minister,
yes.
is on record, and together with the Republican president,
yes, the government
incentivizing solar equipment.
Yes, that's where I'm coming from.
But
so,
let's do it
no,
quickly.
let me be very, very quick on that one, because this is very important, and this is what we expect, and we are going to push for if it won't be there, because we are going to start debating the budget. So what we are saying is, all governments, the previous government and the current government, have been trying to reduce tax towards gas stoves, solars, and so forth. But let me ask you, if you are to power your house, you have your fridge to work, what the appliances to work like you have Zesco, you need more than 50,000 kwacha. Who can afford that? So I think more needs to be done on all these. We want them, even when you are trying to say, oh, climate change, people should not burn trees, and so should not have charcoal. We need to have a situation whereby people in Ngombe can afford to buy gas cylinders, to buy solar, you see, so that it becomes an alternative, so that the major power which is coming from hydro, we reserve it for high-level industrial production. Because for you to install, even a middle class, to just install solar is so expensive.
Okay,
please, let's see in this budget that most of these things, there's no tax at all, and implementation will go on the ground. Because they are also
the Minister of Finance needs money.
No, but
yeah,
elsewhere to look.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. Chivesa. I know Doc has raised quite a number of challenges, and the other challenge that I can talk about is debt restructuring.
Yes.
And Eric was here representing the IMF, and the same debt restructuring has created significant fiscal space. Now, you being an academician and the research, how has the government prioritized this freed space resources within the 2025 budget, and what are the plans to maintain the fiscal space in the year, in the coming year?
Okay. Yes, that has been more of a relief to government, and I would like to say kudos to government, because they've directed that money to social and economic programs that are benefiting the ordinary citizens. Remember, the 2025 budget was meant to improve livelihoods. From the text messages that have been coming up, we see people appreciating cash for work, though they want an increment. Okay, that's normal and that is expected. So that's something that has improved livelihoods. When we are coming, mostly you find people sweeping, a group of people. So that money has been channeled to some of those things. Of course, they fall under the mother body of CDF, Constituency Development Fund, which has also been a game changer. If you go to districts like Iteji, you'll find the council has procured good machinery so that they can grade their roads. The feeder roads are well. The local youth have been encouraged to engage in skills. We've seen a project in trying to improve quality education, which has been a cry. Despite having free education, quality education, we've seen a lot of youth now getting tenders for desk making. Okay, so going to that, at least that has been a plus.
Okay.
That relief, the money has gone to things that are making a mark in our communities, and we can point at one of those things. And I would also expect to see the buying of more equipment for these training institutions, because they are the institutions that are providing that necessary skill to a youth in Ngombe, a youth in Shangombo, a youth in Mansa. That is what I expect as well in the 2026 budget.
Doc Mwenge, what growth path is realistic for the 2026 national budget?
I think the realistic from what has been forecasted and what we are likely to achieve around now, it's around 6%. If we achieve this one this year, 6.6, 6.4, and probably sustain it in the coming year, that will be okay, because we're at stabilization stage. I think it will be able to support other economic sectors. So what is important is inclusive growth. Whatever rate that we grow at, it should be inclusive in terms of trickling it down to all sectors. That's why we don't want to leave any sector behind, any category or status of people. That's why I was trying to even emphasize that some of the taxes that government will forgo by maybe trying to cushion the people. I think we need to go on the ground, government needs to go on the ground and see that the transmission mechanism of some of the zero-rated or tax-free solar panels, solar gadgets, gas itself, or gas cylinders, I think people should not be, because sometimes governments have good intentions. They will actually proceed to say, oh, gas stoves. I think you've seen they have actually tax some of these tax-free, zero-rated, and so forth. But on the ground, there's no monitoring, even associations, the Consumer Competition Commission. You find that people are buying even at prices as if government did not cushion the people. So this is something that they need to look at. But also, if we can improve production of gas, production of the solar panels within the country, most of these, I think it will become a bit affordable. So it will be maybe at producer stage, government can put up incentives so that people go into that. In fact, this is an area in terms of CDF. We expect that government will increase that amount. Okay. But I think what is important also is to be targeting.
Yeah, but are you happy with the uptake? There's been complaint from the minister, from the president himself as well, that the uptake is quite low. Some constituencies are not utilizing CDF. Again, it's a mixed bag kind of arrangement. You know, members also say something that they've only been paid for for the first quarter.
Yes, the disbursement and procedures, I think government has been trying to see how they can disperse on time and how they can give the right people. You know, the challenge with CDF, the government has good intentions. I'll give you an example. Each time there's a new government, KK gets the independence for us, and he puts up certain incentives to support Zambians. And the Zambians get all the loans from Lima Bank, from Namboard, and so forth, and they take it that it's a benefit for gaining independence.
It's free money.
Free money. We comes in, same. You remember PF was giving out the money for youth empowerment. If we are to follow to see did these guys pay back, it was a small loan. If we check the component of CDF where people are getting as support and they're supposed to pay back, you check, people are thinking, oh, it's a benefit for removing PF. So you just sit down and say, I think I remember Minister of Health, is it Minister of Health, Dr. Muchima, complaining that some people just go to the bank, they mobilize, form cooperatives, then they get the money and they sit down and say, how much have we got, how many are we, let's divide by the number, and they share and off they go.
Okay, so let's move on to the issue to do with copper. We've been talking about economic growth. Now, will copper drive the growth, and what are the risks? Because for so many years we've depended on copper, and hence we do have quite a number of discoveries. The gold now, there's an extension of the copper belt into Western Province. But hold your thought. I know our viewers and listeners are eagerly waiting for us to just read few messages, but have that in mind as we check out some of the text messages that we've received. Let's see the text messages that we've received this far, and I'll be able to share with you the number that we are using this morning is 0978772801. Let's see some of the text messages. All right, this one comes from no name there. Okay, the national budget for 2026 as Zambians, we expect a lot. As Northwestern Province, it's one of the provinces in full support of national finances. services, but look at how poor the roads are. We expect in the budget this afternoon an allocation to roads infrastructure, especially the M8 road from Solwezi to Chavuma. Thank you so much for that text, no name there. I'm following the program, and my contribution to the 2026 pre-budget analysis is that it should increase medication budget so that people should not be stressing much about the shortage of medicine in health facilities, and they should not include the Cash for Work program, but increase CDF using the money which they were paying for Cash for Work program. Thank you so much. No name there as well. Make sure that you put your name and where you're sending us from, like what Sichalwe in Kasam has just done. He says the standard of living is high for many families. We sincerely hope and trust that in this year's budget, the minister has considered allocating more resources to civil servants. A stronger, better supported civil service is not only good for the workers themselves, but also for the nation they serve with dedication. Thank you so much, Sichalwe from Kasama. Mulenga J, you're saying, is the 2026 national budget going to cater for people who are doing voluntary services and remained unpicked for years in these government sectors? Is it possible to allocate some CDF funds to them so that at least they can also be able to sustain their basic needs? Thank you so much, Mulenga J there. Monica from the sweetest town, that's Mazabuka. My expectation from the budget is an increment in fiscal allocation so as we farmers can produce more food. I agree with you, Monica, there. Thank you so much. Benson Lukulu, you're sending all the way from Lukulu. You're saying we expect the minister to consider increasing the incentives of teachers working in rural places since they are subjected to hardships such as lack of network, electricity, parked water and road networks. The hardships highlighted are from just Mitete district, which has a lot of challenges. Benson, thank you so much. You are in Lukulu there. Bob Kapila, you're saying we expect recruitment this year in the defense. Thank you so much. The other one, hopefully the Minister of Finance will consider the Minister of Home Affairs in recruiting more police officers to reduce crime in the nation. Thank you so much for that text. The other one there reads, in this budget, we expect the Minister of Finance to construct Shangombo Road, Gari Njamba from Sesheke in Western Province. Thank you so much, Gary, for that. Hachemba in Siavonga, we expect the minister to also think of increasing the cash for work monies from 600 to maybe about 1,500. That's another proposal. They are looking at how hard life has become. Second, they need to increase the monies for skills training, increase grants and loans components under CDF. Thank you so much, Hachemba from the town of Siavonga there. All right, let's read two more text messages. Okay, I think we're done for now. I want you to quickly, the issue to do with the mining. We've depended on mining for quite some time, and the question that I pose, and what are the risks?
I think the major risk that we have in the mining sector, first, of course, there are fluctuations of...
or maybe before you lose your line of thought, before we can hold on to that question, would you quickly want to respond to any of those text messages just quickly? So at least,
I think
our viewers and
most
listeners
people, from the comments, they expect CDF to be increased. They also expect to be cushioned on the standard of living. And I think we will see social spending increasing in the budget, most likely, like the non-taxable income on the monthly earnings of the employees. Obviously, it is likely to go up slightly, but I think all these concerns that people have can only be sustainable if I think the focus will be on long term, trying to see how we can earn more as a country so that you can only give incentives, you can only spend what you earn as much. So so there will be an angle of the producer side where you want to empower people. Even the CDF, especially the area where people have to participate in economic activities, targeting has to be done very well so that you scrutinize. We don't have people who just go there with the motive of just, so we get this project, they don't deliver, and they disappear, and next year there are elections, they know that no one will touch me. That's what our Zambian people do for every government. They know that towards the elections, no one will touch them. This has always happened. So they misuse resources which are made for them to do well.
Okay.
So basically, I think that's what I can say.
Okay. Doc, your quick reaction to those text messages that we've received. Any, you can pick any. That
I'll pick on the road network.
In Lukulu.
Lukulu and also Northwestern.
Northwestern, yes.
Northwestern, of course, is the new mineral hub of Zambia. So the basics of commerce, we learned that commerce is trade and aids to trade, and transport is a key factor, because without transport there would be no trade. So I also expect government not only to concentrate much on road network, but also revitalize the rail network. It is the best form of transport for minerals or heavy products that are so heavy. We see the damage that some of these trucks make to our roads. So I also expect the Minister of Finance to touch on transportation networks, road and rail mostly.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Mange, you talked about some of the growth that you would want to see. And for quite some time, we've depended, as a country, we've depended on a copper. And no wonder we've seen quite a number of investment in this sector. Not too long ago, the president was in Northwestern Province, KCM, quite a number of mining activities taking place in that region. Now, will copper drive the growth that you talked about, and what are the risks if we were just to depend on mining? Okay,
I think that's why the risks are identified, and that's why government in the 8th National Development Plan and other plans before it, even if we were the owners of the mines and were earning, we know that this resource can deplete, and also the fluctuations in prices. You remember what happened in 1972-73? The oil prices go up and the copper prices go down, and then you need more forex to buy oil, so, and these other products. So the major challenge, first of all, I support every government's efforts to bring in investors. But I think as Zambians, we need to start owning the economy. Zambia, you know, this resource envelope, the challenge the Minister of Finance is facing, the previous Minister of Finance faced, is because we haven't owned the economy. We are happy, yes, investors have come in, but we should always remember, in Zambia, go on the street and ask a child, or even at the university, can you define an investor? What will come in their mind immediately is a foreign. They think an investor means a foreign, you see. So when we see, I think some of the things we need to see and to for our minister to ensure that we drive the economy is how much incentives is he putting into the budget, the 3-year medium national budget plan, in empowering Zambians to own meaningful investments in the mining sector and all sectors of the economy. So we find that all the sectors, most of the key sectors of the economy, what percentage do indigenous Zambians own? You see, because first things first, it's the economy of Zambia will only be driven by indigenous Zambians. So we are supposed to first promote, and that's what I see in the 8th National Development Plan and the rest of the plans, its actualization. So we have heard there is God in northwestern province. So I may not be privy to efforts that are being made so that maybe some Zambian company in a formal way will own the whole process and with the people, and then resources come to us. We cannot depend on taxes, 100% taxes from foreign investors. Business is business. Every business person, even myself, I would not want to pay more taxes, even at personal level. The employees for government, those who work even in Ministry of Finance, those who even draft the budget, given an opportunity, they wouldn't want to pay taxes. So we should know that even if we bring in foreign investors, there's a way they'll go around it.
Okay.
That's that. Like, let me give you a situation. The situations we have had towards elections, 2006, 2011, 2016, 2021, and what might happen even in 2026. The minister might want to earn more taxes from the mines next year. It might be there in the budget. Do you know what the mines will do? They will twist government. They will just start saying, no, we are going to lay off workers. We are going to lay off, we are not producing well, and they will negotiate. Then government will think, they will lay off the entire copper belt, and we need to win the elections.
Okay.
So it's better. You saw what happens on and even under the PF, the MMD. So towards the elections, the multinationals are very brutal.
Okay.
They don't want government to get any money from them, and because they know that on the ground, when people are laid off, they'll think of the government that is in power, not to take care of them.
Let me move on to Dr. Kampamba there. Doc has brought quite a number of issues, but let me bring you to the strategic development area, and this is transformation and job creation. I have last year's 2025 budget address by the Minister of Finance, and I'll just get an excerpt from that pillar, where the Minister said the economic transformation and job creation pillar is key in transforming the livelihoods of the Zambian people, especially with regard to increasing income and reducing inequality. It also a pillar where measures to enhance resilience to shocks and of utmost importance, he presented sector by sector. And in the mining, because I've brought in because Doc, we're talking about the mining, where the Minister said mining remains very important for Zambia of other activities. When the industry does well, other sectors do well too. Of course, the opposite is also true. This largely explains the difficult conditions our economy has gone through in the past few years. And he went on saying, because of two of the biggest players in the sector, namely Konkola copper mines and Mopani copper mines, were on their deathbeds. The government has noted the importance of the mining sector to the Zambian economy, and the government has prioritized reviving the industry when they came into office in 2021. Do you think they've lived to this, according to what the minister talked about in 2025, when he was 2024, when he was presenting the 2025 national budget?
Yes, on the mining, I would agree, yes, because if you look at it, like I said, I think earlier, copper production has been good this year, and we've got these key players, Mopani, we've got Kansanshi, we've also got Lumwana, and if we go on the ground, we'll see that Kansanshi is expanding. There's a S3 expansion, and we expect that there will be that target of 1 million metric tons will be achieved by the end of 2026, and there's also the 2032 target of 3 million metric tons. So if we look at the trajectory, how it's going, that is achievable. They've done so well in the mining sector. KCM Nampundwe must be functional now, which is also helping in creating employment when it comes to job creation. The people of Nampundwe, if there is a mine, you are assured of a viable economy. Okay, the mining industry has got a lot of supported businesses, as we might call them. So Nampundwe being functional has been a plus for the government. So when it comes to the mining sector, like Doc even said, we've got now gold in Mufumbwe. I'm not also privy to much information, what is being done to formalize everything, so that the contribution, mostly what we see are videos on social media, but we can actually, government should be looking at formalizing that, so that, remember, government should be looking at domestic funding, and it's through such ventures that government can earn revenue and also cushion.
How do you make of the statement that the president made during his address when he was officially opening the fifth session of the 13th Assembly, where more than 1,400 licenses have been issued to artisanal miners? And not too long ago, yesterday, the Minister of Mines was on the floor of the House updating through the House some of the licenses that have been issued. Maybe just under a minute. Okay. Your quick comment before I move to Doc.
Okay, that's a step. That's a good step in the right direction, because things are now beginning to be put in place. Okay, and most of those are youth, actually, those Zambian nationals from Northwestern Province and from the Copperbelt Province. Okay, but there's still more work that has to be done. Remember, it should be sustainable. Okay, it should be sustainable. We need to ensure that all mining regulations are considered. Safety should also be prioritized. The license move is a
sustainable, environmental.
Yes,
very
all
important
those.
as well.
Remember, we've got a tragedy that just happened in Chambishi. So we need to do some good risk assessment, risk management. But that is a good move, and we hope it progresses well, and it will be ended at the end of the day. It should be viable.
I know, Doc, you also want to comment on that one, but I'll move you away from that topic, and let's look at which tax or revenue themes should we anticipate few hours before the minister presents a 2026 national budget. But which tax or revenue themes should the country anticipate in next year's budget?
I think first of all, broadly, there should be support that should be given, like what is indicated. I can't turn away from commenting.
I know.
The giving of licenses is different from operationalization. So how does operationalization coming in? It comes in also on incentives from the tax point of view. So if there are licenses that are given, how are we going to support these miners to go on the ground? So we expect that from the corporate tax, the SMEs exempted from certain areas, and so that we can support. But maybe I know we are concluding, so what I can also say is that I expect to see the Minister of Finance to make a strong comment on DBZ. We need to know, because those, let's say 1,000 artisanal miners have been given that. Okay. Where do they access the funds? We don't have a development bank, so we need to know where we are on reviving or having a new development bank. How much is being put in terms of in CEC to support local industrialization, or some relief of some kind that we need, so that even when you have high inflation, there's the exchange rate which becomes unfavorable, but there are certain areas where people are cushioned and they will be able to operate normally. So we need to see a situation where in terms of broadening the tax base, so that, but a progressive one, that is important, to see how ZRA can manage electronically.
Okay.
And people need to be educated on how important it is to make sure that these electronic tax invoices or receipts, they demand for them, so that money doesn't slip off government.
Okay.
We also expect that the government, of course, I'm coming from from education sector. You did allude to the fact that the president went round to see the infrastructure that was incomplete at the time the current government took over. There's some works that have started at UNZA, but I think it could be better if there is an accelerated approach to that. Now, across all education is, and more also, we need to know if there's the minister is going to mobilize resources to expand the envelope at Higher Education Authority, Higher Loans Board. Is it Loans and Scholarship Board?
Yes.
So that more students in the government or even and the private sector, they are all Zambians, so that they can also be accessing loans. Most important, we appreciate that government institutions access loans for studies, but that needs to be expanded, but also extended to private institutions, so that development is improving people's choices. So if I have a choice that I want to go to a private university, not a government university, on a government loan, I should be able to do that.
Okay.
So
that's okay. You can conclude.
Yeah, basically, I think for me, that's the key takeaways. The key issues we are looking at is also how you are going to actualize because here, this budget, like my colleague indicated, it is a last budget for the 8th National Development Plan. So we have to see how the first budget did work, what did we achieve, and now are we achieving the economic transformation? Have we really achieved it? If not, then we need to see how we can improve. And of course, there will be a huge spending because there are these other things that are coming, like elections. But we want to see that it's a difficult situation.
Okay, let's bring in Dr. Kampamba there, and I want you to comment on the issue to do with inflation. Is inflation finally trending towards the target?
Okay, so the target has been a single digit. I think I made mention this when we started. The target has been a single digit, between 6 to 8%. We're heading into the last quarter. There's still hope it can still be brought down. Agriculture has played a good role towards economic boosting this year. We saw our tobacco greatly helped us. We have a bumper harvest. So the projection is that we might meet the objectives set for 2025. The possibility is still there. Yes. Okay.
All right. Let's just read 5 text messages, then we conclude today's pre-2026 budget analysis. And we have Aneta there from Serenge. We're saying we expect more recruitment in the education sector, especially secondary school teachers, to work in those new belt 120 secondary schools and to make a new curriculum effective. Thank you so much, Aneta, for that text message. Chikwama Victor Kalabo constituency, we're expecting government to employ extensive officers as well in order to boost agriculture in Zambia. Thank you for that text message. Another one coming from Manzi John Chitala in Lumezi in Eastern Province. CDF indeed is a game changer to the constituencies with good leaders, but government should consider FISIP. It's better to start giving 4 bags of fertilizer and 1 seed to a farmer in order to benefit more farmers in the country rather than sharing in medas. And government should also consider fertilizer prices to reduce to 500 kwacha. This price at least will help the vulnerable people. Thank you so much, Lumezi being represented there. Minister of Finance, please consider to deploy more teachers in rural areas and more special teachers who did special education and are not usually considered. Very important contribution there, and very important expectation. We expect the ministry the minister to consider employing more health workers in rural areas and should be active, not one attending to a patient for more than 30 minutes, and watchmen or security should be considered in terms of payment, they get too little. Ernest Jelo from Mazabuka. Thank you so much, Jelo, for your text message. Mbewe Gift from Luangwa here in Lusaka district. My expectations of the 2026 national budget is that the government needs to increase the number of job opportunities in rural areas, looking at the situation which is here in Luangwa. People are suffering because there is no fishing. Most people here depend on fishing. Once the government introduce any job opportunity in Luangwa, it might help us to stop going out of the country looking for fish. Thank you so much, Mbewe, for those text messages. I'll start with you, Dr. Kampaba. What could be your concluding remarks, and what are you really looking forward in the 2026 national budget? In less than, just in a few hours' time, we are just slightly beyond 11 hours. What are your expectations? Because the minister will be here at 14:15.
Okay, for me, I'll conclude by saying this. I'm more of a business management lecturer with a bias in entrepreneurship. So I would say this in conclusion. It's costly for a Zambian entrepreneur, for a startup. Okay, the cost of setting up a business is just too much for an average Zambian. We have a ministry that is anchoring entrepreneurship in the country. And we have that vision that entrepreneurship is the key to development. Development which is freedom. You are developed if you can choose to come with public transport, with your own vehicle or your bicycle for work. That development, it's give do things. There are a lot from the text messages we've seen. We've heard cries from the unemployed youths who find it even difficult to register a business with PACRA. So I expect the Minister of Finance to look at entrepreneurship, how it can be accelerated and how some fees can be cushioned, especially for the youth. The majority of Zambians are youth who are unemployed, and we are looking at entrepreneurship as a key to solving unemployment, as a key to job creation. This is a realistic thing that can be achieved if the conditions are favorable. And lastly, from academia, free education is a plus. Thank you so much to the government. But now let us work on the quality of education. Okay. Let us look at the infrastructure. Let us look at the teacher-learner ratio. I expect the minister to address these two key things because they are very important. Remember, a budget should have impact on someone, even in the village. They should feel it. Okay. Remember, we are the stakeholders of this country as citizens, and government should also work towards the satisfaction of the stakeholders who are citizens. I think in a few words, that's how I can comment. Okay. I'll leave the econometrics and the economy to my former lecturer.
Yeah, all right. I wish you mentioned that. In, Doc, he said that next to your former student. He's a doc now. I'm sure you're proud of him.
I'm also learning.
Okay, as we come to the end of this interesting discourse that we've had, Doc, what could be your concluding remarks? We know that the Minister of Finance will be here in a few hours' time to unveil the 2026 national budget.
Yes, I think this is a difficult job, especially for our country, where our resource envelope is very, very limited. So we will be there to support what initiatives in the budget. What we expect, I think, is that the budget is within the IMF framework. So we expect that the implementation of the next budget will not be different from the current one, so that they are able to maintain macroeconomic discipline, or particularly fiscal consolidation, but are balancing with protecting the social sectors also. And if you heard the messages there, it's employment, employment, employment. Government cannot provide employment without diversifying the economy. Employment is not recruiting teachers, police officers and soldiers. I like the comment from the person from Luangwa who said any opportunities that government can create that can make us work I think is being open-minded, that government can create enabling environment for more private sector development. So I want to see a budget that will focus more on indigenous Zambian private sector development. And also I would also focus on I hope the budget, you know, when we are talking about debt restructuring, we are actually talking about international debt most of the times in the minds of the people. We are ignoring domestic debt. There are a number of suppliers who are owed by government. We need to see that the other way they can actually inject resources in the economy, so there's a liquidity. We want to see that a huge allocation is there to dismantle domestic debt and also actualize the dismantling timely, so that those youths who are crying for employment, these people who are owed, these suppliers, will continue conducting their business in an enabling environment, and more will be given jobs. Government cannot, you know, when President HH gave his you call it acceptance speech from his home when he won the elections, I got one statement from him. He said that I'm going to work hard to provide an enabling environment to convert it into actualization, so that there may be more job opportunities. So we want to see this happen in the actualization of the budget, but most importantly, we are behind in terms of attaining the Vision 2030. So we want to see how we can be brought on course within a short period of time.
Okay.
On course, we start getting on course to achieving even closer, getting closer, so that we can become closer to a prosperous middle-income country, even if we don't attain exactly what President Mwanawasa and his team envisioned, and the rest that have come after him have been attempting to do. So I want to see that. And I think we hope it will be possible. It is possible, but let's focus on the Zambians owning the economy. And once we own the economy, we will not depend on taxes. Money will be in the country. The banking sector is owned by foreigners. The major retail outlet, retail business for foreign multinationals. I think, where is the Zambian? In the pet trading. So we want the private sector development with an eye on the indigenous Zambians, so that we reduce pressure on the Minister of Finance, and those who come after him in many years to come, they will be able to depend on mobilizing domestic resources more than depending on outside resources where you can manipulate. I feel like I'm attending one of your lectures. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But before we leave, let me just acknowledge the people that have been following us on our socials. And Chisomo Sibanda, we expect many youths to be employed. Thank you so much, Chisomo. Samu Masialeti, you're saying, hope the price for fertilizer will be reduced this coming season. We did see a text message there saying at least if it can come to 500 kwacha, that was a speculation there. And the other one is Michelle Kapila. Yes, solar is very expensive. Let them go on the ground and check the prices. I think it's the issue that Doc raised, that who can afford to have solar, to install solar. Hibuku Hamujoli Mpoma, you're saying okay, he's asking about the radio frequency. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'm sure you are following us through the radio. So there Waria BM. So what time is he going to present the budget? It's at 14:15. So the minister will be here earlier than that, but at 14:15 the presentation starts. The other text message, what time? Okay, I've read this one. Energy, agriculture, mining and tourism as potential to national growth. Thank you so much. Kaleji Patrick, watching from Luansha, Nelson Neza Mufuzi. Thank you so much. So those are some of the few comments that we've received on our Facebook page.
Doc, much as Doc squared. It's a privilege hosting you here, I must say, and more especially on such a very important day when all eyes are on Parliament TV and Parliament Radio, because the nation is very expectant. So my guest for this particular interview had Dr. Austin Mwange, who is the founder of Altura Center for Institutional Economics, and he is a lecturer, economics, finance and business management. I also played host to Dr. Kampamba Chibesa, co-founder, Sterling Institute of Economic and Management Sciences from the University of Zambia. Just hope and trust that you've enjoyed watching the pre-budget analysis. We'll take a break and we'll be bounced back at 12:30 as we start the counting down to the budget presentation, the 2026 budget, which will be presented by the Minister of Finance. What are your expectations if you're getting us through our radio platform? It could be our social media platform. Make sure that you utilize those facilities and keep on sending those text messages, because at 12:30, my colleague Claudette Jonga will be with me here on set, and just to bring some different stakeholders that will be also adding a voice to the budget 2026. Keep watching and listening to Parliament.